Hi, I hope you're well. I wanted to share a quick story time, hoping that it's going to encourage a lot of us today. Recently, I had a really bad day, and I know we have bad days from time to time, but this specific one, it was one difficult day, and it was one of those days where I was balancing tears. You know how a day can be difficult and you just want to stand somewhere in the middle of the road and just cry and pour your heart out. And I remember telling myself, just hold on, let's just get home. When we get home, we can have a 2 hour cry session. It was one of those days. And I remember getting home and thinking to myself, okay, now let's just have a quick cry session, and then let's wrap it up and look forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a better day. And I was just encouraging myself and just psyching myself up. But then that's the thing. The thing with human emotions is you cannot just psych yourself out of an unpleasant emotional state. You cannot just wish it away. You have to sit down and process it and unpack how you're feeling and just go through the emotions and just think about them or talk about them. And for me, one of the ways that I process my emotions, if I'm not talking to someone close to me, I'm with God processing it. And He's always the first person that I'm processing my emotions with. So I called Him for a meeting. That's what I usually do when I'm having this weird moments. And I remember just telling the Holy Spirit, please, I really need us to talk. I need to talk to you. And I was just sitting, and it wasn't a prayer session, and neither was it um, a quiet session. It was an actual conversation I was having with him, and I was just speaking and telling him how I felt. And I was telling him how I feel disappointed, how I feel discouraged. And I was just asking him, you knew how the day would be. Why did you allow me to go through it? I feel annoyed. I think I'm angry at you. And I feel really hurt and I'm in pain right now. And I know I'm laughing right now, but in that particular moment I was crying and wailing and just tears all over, and just that the kind of crying where your voice breaks. And I remember just sitting, and the Holy Spirit, after my venting session, the Holy Spirit was ministering to me and reminding me of, and just affirming me and reminding me of His promises concerning this season, and just encouraging me. And if there's a great encourager, it has to be the Holy Spirit, honestly. And I remember just sitting and just processing my emotions with God, and I was just wondering, or just thinking of how privileged we are to have the gift of the Holy Spirit. The fact that we can be vulnerable with the Holy Spirit and just express how we feel and be raw, just tell Him about the raw emotions we're feeling, not the Christianized venting, the way we're like, oh Lord, it has been a different. No, when you go to the Holy Spirit and you're telling Him, hey God, I am really angry and I'm upset right now, that in itself is a privilege and it's a blessing. It was in that moment that I realized how blessed we are and how fortunate we are to be in this dispensation where we have the Holy Spirit as our comforter. And I remember just thinking, or in that moment, and the Holy Spirit was asking me, because I wanted to cover it up. I wanted to, just tell Him I had a bad day and pray for comfort and pray for peace. But when I was in that moment, the Holy Spirit was just telling me, tell me how you feel, just just pour out your heart and let me know how you feel. And later I was just praying and asking God, why would you want us to be as vulnerable? Like, why do you want us to be that vulnerable with you? Why do you want us to come with our raw emotions and our raw feelings? And He was reminding me of who He is. When Jesus was telling the disciples that He's going to send the Holy Spirit, the Bible records the Holy Spirit as a comforter. And the Holy Spirit was asking me, how am I going to be a comforter to you if you don't let me see where it hurts? If you're not open about the pain, if you're not open about the frustrations that you're going through, either with the season or with people around you, or in whatever life situation you're in, if you're not open and you don't allow the Holy Spirit to see that side of you and that part of you that is in pain, how is He going to comfort you? If you're not willing to tell Him that you don't know something, if you don't openly tell him to teach you, how is he going to be a teacher to you? If you're not open with the Holy Spirit about something that is confusing, or when you need his wisdom, how is he going to be a counselor to you? The Holy Spirit is all of these things to us, but until we allow him to see parts of us that resonate with who he is, in these parts, in these roles that he plays in our lives, we're not going to experience that part of him. For example, I needed his comfort, and I needed him to be my comforter in that particular moment. But if I had not opened up and told him, this is where it hurts, and this is what is causing me pain, I wouldn't have experienced that comfort with him. For some of us, the way we grew up in church, let me speak for myself, but the way we grew up in church, being vulnerable and open with God was frowned upon. Actually, I don't remember being taught that I can be open and that vulnerable with God. It was always the go to God looking a certain way, looking all put together, and you got this. Nothing can shake you. You didn't have, there's nothing that can put you down. That kind of heart posture is how I saw, or how I was brought up to go to God looking and feeling. But over time, the more you grow and get to know God for yourself, and the more you get to learn more about God, you realize that no, I can actually tell God how I feel. I can actually tell him when I'm angry. I can tell him when I'm sad or disappointed. And God is not intimidated by our feelings. He's not intimidated by our human emotions, our humanity. He is not. He can handle our human emotions. Most times when we want to vent to people around us, you'll find that the person you're venting to cannot handle that particular emotion that you're feeling. They don't know how to be there for you in that particular moment. And sometimes we shy away from venting and opening up to people around us because we're wondering, are they going to do they have the capacity to show up for me or to be there for me in this particular moment? And that's the beauty with God. The beauty with God is that he can handle your emotions. He has the capacity. He is God. And he knows how you feel. He knows what you're going through, and he knows that you're experiencing certain emotions that are not pleasant, and he's willing to listen to them, and he wants to listen to those emotions, and he wants you to tell him how you feel. He wants you to tell him where it hurts, to show him where it hurts, because he is a comforter, and he wants to comfort you, and he wants to encourage you, and he wants to pour out his healing in those parts of your heart, parts of your life that feel broken and feel disappointed. Anyway, my story time agenda was to just let someone know that it's okay to tell God how you feel. He is not intimidated by how you feel. He's not intimidated by your emotions. He is not, and will never be, he will never lack the capacity to handle you as his child. You're not too much for God. And I hope that this can be a reminder to someone that you are never too much, and you will never be too much for God. He's got you, and he's got the capacity to handle you. So before you plan out a 2-hour cry session with your best friend, please just take time and go to God first. Just plan out that 2-hour session with God first, and trust me, he's going to show you that it was worth it that you went to him. And I hope this blesses you. Bye.